All right, switch time. All right, so FKIK switch con, what I'm gonna do is we're actually gonna hide all of this. Just gonna lock and hide it. Let's do the same thing for the other one. Just to simplify, because we don't need to move it around. Lock and hide. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do to edit. We're gonna add an attribute. It's just like we did for the reverse foot. I'm gonna call it IKFK switch. And I'm actually gonna copy that. It's gonna be a float. We're gonna have a minimum value of 0, maximum value of 1. Default is gonna be set to 0. Click add. We'll do the same thing over here. Go to 0, maximum 1, click add. Okay, so now we have switches on both of these. I'm using the same name on both of these because that means I can select both controllers, select one attribute, and drag between them. Now, for both arms, we want to go and choose and say at 0, it's either going to be FK or it's going to be IK. And then at 1, it's going to be either IK or FK. We just need to be consistent, okay? So we don't need to have like value, FK system on for both arms, and then like the controllers are set to like 0 and 1. We just want to stay consistent here, okay? So in order to achieve this, we are going to go ahead and open up the Windows. Actually, no, we're going to go to Animation, Key, Set Driven Key, Set, okay? The driver is going to be we're going to start off with the left IKFK switch, load driver, and then we're going to go to the skinning joint, left skinning shoulder, left skinning elbow, left skinning wrist, okay? And so we're going to look under those, and we should have the Orient constraints. These guys right here. We're actually going to select the Orient constraints, load driven. So you'll see that basically we have our two parents on each one of these Orient constraints. So let's say value of 0, we have FK on and IK off. And the value of 1 on this controller is going to give us IK on, FK off. All right. So let's just go with that. All right. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to click FK, IKFK switch value right here. I'm going to go to the first wrist joint Orient constraint. I'm going to go ahead and select both of these. And I'm going to go over here to where it says left FK, left IK. Okay, I want this on, so that's going to be value of 1. The next one is going to be off, which is going to be value of 0. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to go and click key. See, they turn blue. Next, I'm going to go down to the elbow. Grab both of these. And I'm going to turn IK to 0. And hit key. Then shoulder. Grab both of these, and we're just telling it just to basically key this. I'm going to turn IK to 0. Hit key. All right. So what we basically just did is said, hey, I want FK on control totally. When we have that value set to 1, or I'm sorry, set to 0, then we set it to 1, we're going to just reverse those values. So I'm going to click on this controller, set that value to 1, and then we're going to go back and do this again. We're just reversing values. So that's 1. I'm going to set it to 0, and then change the 0 under IK to 1. So now that IK is going to be in charge. I'm going to click key. Okay, I'm doing elbow. Okay, FK, IK. Reverse the values. Click key. Go to shoulder. Reverse the values. Click key. Okay, this is important. One thing we definitely want to do is make sure we set the value in the switch first before we start changing up the values in each of the Orient constraints. If we start setting up the values under the Orient constraints first and then switch the value here, it's actually going to reset it. And we don't want to do that because otherwise you go through all this work and it ends up not doing anything. So you want to switch the value in the switch first, in the driver, and then change the driven values. It's very important. So what we need to do now is go ahead and check and see if we actually got this to work. So I just went ahead and moved up the FK system, moved up the IK, and then I'm going to go and switch it. Looks like it's switching. Good, good. That's what we want. All right. One other thing we do want is we want the visibility of the non-used controllers on the non-used system, the one that's turned off, to be invisible when we're not using it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these two controllers. I'm going to load them as driven, and they're both going to have visibility right here. Okay. I'm going to turn that off because we're using FK. We don't need to see the IK system. I'm going to click key, and then I'm going to go and switch this to 1. I'm going to go here to the wrist con and then to the elbow con and turn on my visibility. Okay. And then click key again. All right. We're going to go to the FK, all three of the FK controllers. I'm going to turn visibility on them off. Actually, I'm going to load them as driven. Visibility, clicking visibility. I've already turned off visibility, so I just need to select that attribute. Click key. And then when we go back here, reverse the value. We need to turn back on their visibility. Okay. Select them all, select visibility, and click key. Okay, let's see if this works. Boom, boom. I'm missing my wrist controller. That did not come through, so I need to fix that. So I need to find that wrist controller. And I don't think I put that anywhere yet. So it's going to be left IK wrist con offset group right here. I'm going to reload that as driven. I'm going to go to its visibility. It should be on right here. So I'm going to go back, turn it on, hit key. Let's check it. There we go. So you see that the hand is popping between the two positions. Awesome. So that arm is done. That arm is done. All you really got to do is just do the same thing over here on this arm. That's the only thing. Load driver. And then we're going to go ahead and grab, let's just go and just do this all in one go. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab those Orient constraints. right skinning. There we go, skinning. Yeah, I don't need those, I just need the constraints. Load driven. Okay, so we got the shoulder con, shoulder, FK wrist, IK, so I'm missing that elbow. Now let's grab that elbow, load driven. Okay, I'm just grabbing a whole bunch of stuff right now. Let's make sure that this is actually working. So I'm just going to rotate that up. So we'll set to 0. We're going to do shoulder FK con, shoulder wrist con, shoulder FK. I'm going to go to visibility, click key, and then I'm going to turn off IK visibility. So I'm going to go and click on the elbow IK, and then the IK wrist con here, and key. And then we're going to go and reverse it. So IKFK switch is turn the opposite direction. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the controllers. Actually, no, let's back up for a second. I want to set those values for the shoulder joints right here. So let's go and do FKIK. Okay. Do key. And then we'll do key. And then wrist. Set that value. Do key. Okay, so that should be good. So we're going to go and switch that value. So that's going to be IKFK switch. We're going to set that to 1. And then we're going to go to, let's go ahead and let's do the Orient Constraints. We're going to reverse those values. So it's going to be value of 1, 0. Change the 1 to the 0. And then wrist is going to be 0 to 1. All right, so we got that. So we need to do shoulder, wrist, and FK elbow. We're keying the visibility, turn that off. Key. And then the elbow and the left wrist, or I'm sorry, yeah, left wrist are going to be turned back on. Key. All right, so let's see if all that worked. That was a whole lot. So IKFK switch, set to 1. Okay. Partially working. So we need to, yeah, I don't think we switched. Okay, so we didn't set the second value, so we made a mistake. All right. Okay. So I'm going to set it back to where it should be for IK. So I'm going to go to shoulder. Invert it. 0, 1. Okay. Key. All right. Invert that. 0 to 1. Key. Wrist. From 0 to 1, which is already set. Key. All right. So this is actually good troubleshooting, because if it messes up on you, then you know what to look for. Okay. So that wrist is kind of not working for me. So let's look at that wrist. Skinny wrist. So it looks like that first value didn't get set properly. So I'm going to go and reset that. Okay. So at FK, that should be set to 1 and then 0 for the two parents. Okay. So we're going to reset that key. So it's okay to reset your keys if you need to. All right. Test it. Looks good. Okay. Okay, great. Great. Let's test them both. Visibilities are keyed for the controllers. Orients are keyed to the switch, which is great. Looks like everything's working. So that's exactly what we wanted. And then the elbows are also keyed, which is great as well. Excellent. That's really good. A little bit confusing, sure, but that works really well. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the finger controls. And I'm going to reset my positions. And then we will organize. So we're going to do our controllers, and then we're going to organize our outliner. And I think that's pretty much it. So that was pretty easy, right? I mean, this effectively right here is the IKFK switch. Like at this point, if you've completed this, you've done the IKFK switch. The fingers are just FK controls. That's all they are. That's all we're doing for them. All right, be right back.